Oh, happy Halloween, happy Monday. Lisa and Eric Pisak here. I am dressed like I'm ready to go to a soccer or a football game. Eric is
No,
dressed
it's kind of like Halloween-ish.
like himself today. It's cold, it's rainy.
A Team Lasso on. It's good.
Team Lasso. I'm so excited for the show to come back on. So let's talk about, on this Monday, on this Halloween, a strategy for getting anything that you want. And this topic was inspired this weekend by Eric worked his butt off to find a fall cleanup company. I guess you can call them a company would help with. We have a pretty big property, which is like one of the reasons why we bought this house is because it's a townhouse, but we have what's our lot size?
I think it's like 65 by almost like 60 by 200.
It's big. It's big. And we decided once we started working with Bo Eason, our mentor, he made us do this thing called the never do again list. Basically meaning the things you don't want to do because they don't make your business go up. So things like house cleaning, laundry, well, we still do laundry, vacuuming, gardening, maybe even grocery shopping, talking on the phone. Like it could be answering emails. It could be, scheduling Zooms. He really had you start thinking about when you do this, your business goes down. So stop doing it. And what are the things that only you can do in your business? And gardening was one of the things. I guess I just had all these dreams of having a glass of Chardonnay and like picking some
your fancy hunter boots on.
No. I am like a whirling dervish, angry that I pull weeds and then more come back. Or like yesterday I was leaf blowing and I made it my mission. It's like vacuuming the lawn. I made it my mission to get like every leaf. And I was just like, me and gardening, it's not a pretty scene. So Eric finds this company. And they quote the job. And you want to talk a little bit about the story, like what happened, like in the beginning.
Which part? What do you?
Well, so they were like, they set the quote, and they told us what it was going to cost.
Okay, no, first
so they knew what they were getting into.
No, first he asked me to send him pictures. He said I need to see what it looks like. So I sent him pictures like of every part of the lawn.
Yes.
Front and back.
Yes.
Sides.
So they knew the job.
So he knew exactly what he was getting into. He said full cleanup. I listed exactly what he had to do. I said you got to cut back all the gardens. You got to cut down everything.
Pictures,
you got to clean it up.
Clear.
They all got to be bagged. They got to be put at the front of the lawn on the curb, ready for pickup.
Clear instructions.
You're basically coming, clean up our yard so it looks beautiful and clean, ready for fall or ready for winter. Okay.
So he sends his son out, who was texting you at 4 a.m.
He texted me at 4:15 a.m. and said, "Hey, we're still on for today, right? I'll be there later this morning."
So I don't think he was too prepared for the job that was ahead. Well, lo and behold, fast forward the story. He was here probably, I don't even know, 8 hours?
No, he was here 7, almost, 7.
7 and a half hours. And we were watching him as we were doing our stuff, working on our business, recovering, doing all our things. He would kind of like walk a few steps and then stop and then like pick up a few leaves and then lie down.
No, the best was he literally went in the middle of the yard and he started raking towards himself in like a circle. So he literally created a circle all around himself.
I think he thinks that he had a strategy. And then he did did the front and then he was like, now I'm going to go in the back. And then he kind of walked around and like scratched his head and then laid down again. And we were like, I think he's doing a lot more walking than actually working. And that's the first thing that we want you to think about in your business is you could be busy all day long, but not actually achieve anything.
Yeah.
So it's really important that you are gut checking and kind of auditing, for lack of better words, and looking at your day and going, what actually is sucking up my time? And is it making the business go up? Is it producing the results that I want? Now, I'm not saying you look at that thing and then you beat yourself up because you're like, oh my God, what's wrong with me? Why am I doing all these things? No. An honest look at how you're spending your time. And then the first part of this 3-part strategy, which I think this lovely young little soul didn't have, was a strategy. So Eric and I yesterday had to basically finish the job. They came at noon and we were like, "You're gonna the light is done at 6 o'clock," and they were like, "No, we're gonna keep going with like flashlights." And
Yeah, I literally told him. I
I'm
walked
like,
down.
"Oh
I
dear
was
God."
like, "You got to come back tomorrow," because I'm like, "There's look at all this you still have to do."
So we still
Like,
had,
I'll
they
get it
still
done.
didn't get it done. And when I was leaf blowing, I literally was like, "Okay, I'm gonna work in this section first, and then I'm gonna do the grass first. I'm gonna do the garden. I'm gonna work from the front to the back." So I had a strategy instead of what he was doing, which was aimlessly walking around, scratching his head and getting overwhelmed.
And sometimes he would rake, and then other times he'd pick up the leaf blower,
He had no strategy.
and then he'd start blowing them around
He had
randomly.
no strategy. So that's what happens when you don't have a plan of action. So it's so exciting, probably what happened when he saw the job and he saw the pictures and he saw that it was probably
The
going to be a
money.
little bit of a higher ticket job for him because we have a pretty big, area. He got really excited about the money. And then he didn't have a strategy to complete the job.
And I want to say one other thing there too. I think he honestly thought it was going to take him 3 to 4 hours.
But you need a strategy to
Yeah,
do that.
exactly. So that's where I'm going with that. Exactly. So it could have. We said this. We said, if both of us
Eric
went
and I
out
did
there,
it, yeah.
2 to 3 hours, that would have been spick and span.
Yeah.
2 to 3 hours.
Which leads to the next part, though.
Yeah.
Part 2 is because you and I are workers.
Yeah.
We bust our butt. And I'm not saying that you need to become part of this hustle culture that just works. But I remember being on a call with Ben Hardy when I was in Bose Master. Well, still am in Bose Mastermind. This was last year when we had this call. And he was talking about athletes. And he was saying athletes understand that the higher the work, then comes the higher recovery. So they don't go on 7 days a week, 24/7. They have really quick, fast, hard spurts of work, such as practice or training or a game or whatever, and then they recover. And you and I are really good at, we're workers.
Mhm.
Like, we know that when we set our mind out, like it's fall cleanup time, we have 2 hours, we bust our butt for 2 hours. So it's not about working all the time. It's about setting that productive time where you are going to have your butt in the seat, or you are going to bang out those videos, or you are going to send those connection calls, or you know what you have to do. You are going to work on your website or your social, or you're going to command your team or whatever it is. And you're focused on just that. I think the other part is he kept kind of playing with his phone and then doing a little bit and then back on his phone. He had a lot of distractions.
Yeah.
So distractions are the killer of work ethic, which is part
Mhm.
2. Part 1 is strategy. Part 2 is work ethic. And
Mhm.
distraction is the killer of your work ethic. So when you're all in on what you are doing, that raises the business. So for me, that's preparation, execution, and recovery. Those are my 3 things. I'm either speaking or, coaching, and then recovering. Yours is you command the team. You do a lot with the
managing
team.
Yeah.
You do all the books and all the
Accounting stuff, or what would you call that? Like
you
administrative
oversee
stuff.
the administrative. You don't do
billing,
it. Yeah.
invoicing, that stuff. Yeah.
And then tech. You're like the tech overseer of all things, right?
Making sure all the things are connected to the things.
So when that's a good way of putting it. So when we're working, we're working. We're not answering email. I don't even know all the other distractions that could possibly be around. So part 2 is the work ethic. First is the strategy. Second is work ethic. And then third is energy. I mean, this dear soul, I'm being kind by calling him a dear soul. I went outside because I was running out to get groceries, actually. We're in my long-term plan. There will be somebody that goes and gets groceries for me. And I don't say that to sound like, oh, I can't get my own growth. It's not even about ego. It's about priorities. And like Bo always talks about, like, you're taking somebody else's job.
Yeah.
Like, somebody loves to get groceries.
Look at Instacart. That was a perfect example.
Yeah.
Instacart exists because people don't want to go get the groceries.
There are people who love
They
to
don't wanna shop.
garden. There are people who
Yeah.
love. We had somebody who like loved laundry for a little while. She's a college
Yeah.
student and then got like a real job and didn't want to do our laundry anymore. But she was like, I love folding laundry, and she was so efficient.
Yeah, she was
We were like,
crazy.
we have like 6 loads of laundry. It's gonna take you like an hour, and she would have the laundry folded in like 15 minutes.
And like perfectly
I'm like,
folded,
how did
like
you do
hotel folding.
I'm like, you are much better at laundry than I am. So it goes back to, if you're having any ego about, well, I can't delegate that, I need to do that. There's somebody who loves to do it more than you do. So give it to them. But the third part is energy. I went out to go get groceries and he was sitting on our front step and he looked like, I don't even know how to say this on camera, so it sounds appropriate. He just looked like he made some questionable choices, I think, at 4 a.m.
The night before.
The night
Yeah.
before.
He was he looked rough shape.
And so energy is the last piece. So you can have the strategy and know those things that make your business go up and the things that don't, and you have to delegate. You can have the work ethic where you get rid of distractions and you're focused. But if you don't have the energy to sustain, the energy to show up the way that you want, it doesn't matter the strategy and it doesn't matter the work ethic. Energy is probably like number one in the piece of the pie. So I think he was pretty much doomed from the start, because I think his lack of energy and focus is the reason why there was no strategy and the work ethic was kind of crappy.
Yeah.
And why the job didn't really get done. Why Eric and I had to essentially finish it. And you think about that, we both about 2.5 hours, 2 people.
Yeah.
Like there was quite a bit that still had to be finished. I mean, we still paid them and said thank you very much, but will we ever be hiring that service ever again?
Do you want to tell them about the lost $20?
Nah. Erroneous details.
Yeah. And then the only thing that I want to kind of end off this with is I catch myself in this sometimes when you have a few or 1 or 2 big projects in front of you, and it's very easy to get lost in the details. So like I'll find myself only focusing on one task of the 10 instead of like focusing on the main thing of that task. So like get that thing done, whatever it is. Sometimes I'll, like this kid, for instance, he thought raking the leaves was the main task, when the main task was actually putting everything together and cleaning it up.
Yeah. That's what we said. We're like, we would have cut everything first.
Yeah, like there was,
and then the strategy.
like he's going in the gardens, raking out the leaves, but he has to still cut the stuff down.
So it's like you're doing double the work.
So now you have to go back after you raked all that leaves, cut everything down, now rake it out again. Why didn't you just cut it down and then rake it out?
Strategy.
So I'm just saying, making the main thing the main thing, and just focusing on getting it done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's what inspired. I was like, we got to talk about this because it's so relatable to business. So, what are you trying to achieve? Post below. Do you have a strategy? How's your work ethic been lately?
Do you have distractions?
Well, yeah, what distractions? And again, it's not saying are you lazy. That's not what I'm saying.
Nothing at all. Like
I'm saying because you have distractions, like you said. Do you have a strategy? What distractions do you have to get rid of? And how's your energy been?
Yeah.
What are those? Where do you need to work on? Like, do a little check of that. I mean, January is we want to end the year strong, and we want to start the year in a great way.
Mm-hmm.
So this is why you got to start thinking about this stuff now. Don't leave it until January to go, what am I trying to achieve? What's my strategy? What distractions do I have to get rid of?
Yeah. How's
my energy? Focus on it now so that you're ready to play when January, February rolls around. So, all right, that's what we got to share with you today. Happy Halloween. Have fun tonight. If you are going trick-or-treating with your little ones, or if you don't have little ones, you are handing out candy to the little ones. Remember, this is a night to be together as a family, make memories,
and
be
safe.
together with your friends, and be safe.
Slow down if you're driving.
Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.